Your people are not bunnies. And in this video, you will learn why not to use sticks and carrots anymore to motivate your people, and how to spot whether your people are actually really motivated or not. Now, my name is Leon, and I started my leadership career at age 17. And I then went on to build a 20-year-long corporate career, leading organizations of up to 3,500 people in 4 different countries. Now I run a consulting brand, and I'm on a mission to help 1 million founders to reinvent themselves and become next generation leaders. My clients typically double their business in the first year, but enough about that. Today, we're exploring 3 things that every leader wants to know to motivate their team without using carrots and sticks, because we're not bunnies after all. So as someone who has led teams for over 20 years, I've learned that knowing what motivates people is essential for getting the team to perform at its best. But have you ever noticed that some people just seem naturally more motivated? In contrast, others might want constant encouragement to stay on track. That's what we will break down today in this video. First, a note to yourself. Encouragement and motivation are 2 sides of the same medal. Encouragement is like an espresso shot. It boosts the person's drive in the moment. Whereas intrinsic motivation is like hydro energy. It is always there. First things first, let me be honest. I've used sticks and carrots often throughout my early days in the career. I really thought that it was the key to motivation. And for a long time, it was actually common knowledge. But we've moved on a lot since then, and organizational specialists, and one of them, have found a different form of motivation. It's the motivation that makes us want to play games without getting something in return. It's the motivation that we want to help a fellow human being. It's the motivation that sits deep inside of us. Now, thankfully, I've learned the keys to unlocking intrinsic motivation in organizations and what drives people to perform. And in this video, I'm going to dive into the 3 things that I've seen are the most effective to activate that intrinsic motivation. Here we go. Number 1, make their job fun and playful. Have you ever played Monopoly? It's a pretty fun game, isn't it? But now imagine that everything that you do in the game, the number you throw on the dice, which city you will buy, how long you will stay in jail, it will be all decided for you by somebody else. You have no freedom. How much fun would it be to play that game? Well, I bet you will probably play it for 5 minutes, and then you will lose your complete motivation. Don't be that leader. Let people play the game, but within the agreed board game rules. That encourages creativity, injects humor, creates team building, bonding, opportunities. It helps your team to stay motivated, but it will also create a positive and enjoyable work environment. That's what we call play. Play in organizations has proven to increase team engagement by a whopping 70%. Now think of that in terms of profit. What would happen if your team performs almost double as what they perform today? Look, football tables, beanbags, pizza, movie nights, they're all fun, but that's not play. It gives this short-term boost in mood and motivation, but it doesn't intrinsically motivate people for the long term. No, you gotta do better than that. Not every organization has managed yet to instill play into their daily work life. So let me share with you some things you can spot in your organization that will signal that you have a lack of play. The first one is you have high staff turnover rates. Probably even your best people are leaving. It are the best people that leave first, And they might tell you that they leave because they found a bigger pay somewhere, which could be true when people earn the minimum, but it is much more likely that they went out to find play somewhere else. Then, when you spot that there's a decrease in productivity, in 85% of the cases, decreased productivity has nothing to do with the person, but with lack of intrinsic motivation, with play being the most common one. So, is your team lacking productivity? Maybe they have too little autonomy to play the game their way. Then, the third is the lack of creativity in innovation, in problem solving, and that usually happens when people are motivated by a carrot on a stick, because then people tend to do only that what is expected from them, and often not more than that. A little play injection in the organization can do wonders for motivation, and that in turn will increase creativity and innovation. Now that was play. There's another one. We call that purpose. So let's move on to the second big point. Make people part of a shared company vision. You probably know this saying that leaders must be visionary. Well, to me, this sentence has been overused. I do agree that work feels meaningless and uninspiring without a clear purpose. And yes, I've seen also many teams open up and blooming like flowers once they understood the big picture. But just having a vision is not enough. You want to make people fully part of that vision, let them co-create it, and include them in setting objectives that are in line with that vision. It will be like a personal development journey for everyone, something that Generation Z, which is now the growing and upcoming generation in the workforce, they demand this. Now, here's how you can spot a lack of vision and inclusion. The first thing is people have a reactive approach rather than a proactive approach. Think of it like this. When people are not clear which path to take when they're at a crossroad, then they will become reactive. And I don't blame them, because we all need directions to find a destination. Making them part of the vision is the cure to that. Then, another signal is that you might see higher rates of absenteeism, sick leave, or even burnouts. Because when people lack purpose, they use force to show up daily. But then they're also tapping into their energy resources, and those will get depleted over time. However, a purpose energizes people and fills up that bucket. And that is yet another reason to align and include people in that shared vision. Now, the third signal, how you can spot the lack of a shared vision, is that the organization has troubles to grow past a glass ceiling. I see that the most often when clients knock my door. They've grown pretty well. They come to the point of 20, 25 people, but then they get stuck. Well, that's again where the shared vision comes in. A new clear direction forward that goes not with force through that ceiling, but around it. Now let's move to the third intrinsic motivator, which is the personal growth and development. Make learning and development the number one focus for your people, because people want to grow themselves and they want to develop themselves and they want to feel like they are progressing in their careers and making a difference. Here's a note for yourself. When you are able to show people how working for your company is the missing piece in their life puzzle, you have them infinitely engaged. When I personally felt stagnation in my self-development and learning after being 5 years already in the same CFO position, I felt stuck and I left the corporate. It wasn't the only reason, but it definitely contributed a big time to it. When learning and development stagnates, it is most of the time the best horses in the stable who will find their way to greener pastures. And that's why you want everyone on the team to have a personal development and learning plan. Not after a year, but from day one. You'll get stunning results and retain your best people for years. But again, not every organization has this really well figured out. So here's how you can spot a lack of learning and development in your teams. The first one is, the best people have started to leave the company. I mentioned it already before. People will always come and go. But when more and more people start to leave, it is your best people that go first. And it's time to look then at your intrinsic motivation levels in your organization. Now, the second one is, it becomes harder and harder to attract promising talents, especially with younger generations entering the workforce right now. We can't attract people with ping pong tables anymore. It's not gonna cut it. They want growth and development, and they will choose any other company over yours if you can't showcase that you're focusing on that. The third one is that overall product and service quality could be better. When your team members don't grow, so doesn't your product or service. So put quality development out there for your people, and it will come back in the quality of your service or product. Now let's conclude. Motivating your team isn't about using carrots and sticks anymore. It's not the way to drive performance any longer. What it is about is understanding what drives people and then create an environment that supports that and builds on intrinsic motivation. I want to encourage you to unlock your team's true potential by making their job fun and playful and making them part of a larger shared vision. Include them in there and focus on learning and development. Now, do you want to get weekly leadership insights and double your business and become a next generation leader? Sign up via the link in the comments and get every Saturday a personally written newsletter from me. Thank you for watching. You got this, and see you in the next video.